This is the Sunny Hills Smackdown with your host, Matt Kaplinski.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Sunny Hills Smackdown. First, I'm Matt Kaplinski and I'll be facilitating the conversation today. So let's get the introduction out of the way and we'll start with Julia on my right.
Good morning, my name is Julia Plesko and I'm a sophomore here at Sanford.
Hi, I'm Ryan Mount and I'm a junior here at Sanford.
Hi, I'm Malvi Chen, I'm a senior at Stanford.
I'm Jake Freeman, I'm a senior at Stanford.
And today we'll be talking about the highly controversial opinion of how homework should be assigned, how much you should have, and how they perceive that it is necessary in our lives as students. So, any opening thoughts?
I believe that homework should not be required in school because it puts an unnecessary level of stress on students and it's not really essential to the learning process.
I believe that we should keep homework the way it is, as when students do the required amount of homework, they typically succeed, as per studies and, well, generally a lot of evidence says.
Allie?
I believe that homework should limit it to between 15 to 20 minutes, but it's not as much as we have right now because homework always causes a big stress for students.
I think we need more homework because I feel like the U.S. is falling behind other countries who have an education system where they emphasize on a lot of homework.
So, I think, Julia, you probably have the most controversial topic with the no homework. What is your feelings behind that?
Well, studies have shown that on a 10-point scale for stress, teens actually rate a 5.8, while adults only rate a 5.1. And I don't think that it's healthy that teens are more stressed out than adults who have to pay bills and feed people of the household. Well, teens really only have to go to school.
Couldn't you also say, though, that getting practice now as teens will better prepare you as an adult and make it much easier to live your life as an adult?
You could, but when do you get a chance to be a kid? I mean, if you're stressed out your whole life, that's no fun and it's not healthy and it can lead to health risks like heart attacks and things like that.
And Jake, you have more homework. What's your feeling behind that with students being stressed at a 5.8, was it?
Yeah.
5.8 on that scale?
Well, I believe that with our education system right now, I think kids aren't being taught how to deal with that stress. I feel like if we give more homework, they'll be forced to learn how to deal and cope with that stress and learn better ways. And even adults will be able to reduce their stress because of what they were taught as children.
Allie, and your less homework, which is more so on the side of Julia's, but you're not completely in favor of abolishing homework because I assume you still see some positive benefits of homework.
Yeah, because I think homework just a little bit of homework can help with students to review the stuff they have learned earlier in the day. But I mean, I just remind a little bit, but not too much stress on it.
And, well, I want to get this out of the way. Should homework be more enrichment, extra practice, or should it just be a means of making sure students are staying responsible outside of school? What do you think about that? Anyone?
I think it should be the student's choice to stay responsible outside of school. School's already 8 hours a day, and during that time, there's plenty of opportunities to make sure students are responsible about their schoolwork during the school day. After school, it is their choice if they want to further pursue their academic interests.
Any more thoughts on that?
I believe that the homework they do should be more, I guess, say the extra work that makes them focus on their studies when they're out of school. As they'll develop better study habits, if they're forced to do work, they'll typically develop better study habits. And maybe they'll study more for the test, whereas if they, say, didn't have homework, they might not be less inclined to study as they've never had to before because they haven't had any assignments.
But couldn't you also say that test grades would supposedly drop if you're not doing homework so they want to study to do better? Would it just be a trade-off?
That's the student itself. You never know. That's all up to the student. Now, if they have homework, they might maybe have to study since they're used to doing homework at home. Now, if you're never doing homework at home, what incentive would you have to just say force more work upon yourself?
And this is probably the biggest, most pivotal point in a lot of your arguments, but what is the right amount of homework to give a student? Because there's different situations that they could be living in, and it's really hard to accommodate for that, but do you think there's any possible ways that you can manage that?
Studies show that students in America now, in high school, typically do less than an hour of homework at night. So, homework hasn't changed in the last 50 years, the amount of homework they do. And it's typically pretty good. I mean, the government says, the Department of Education says that you should do 10 minutes of homework per grade level. So we should be doing, since I'm a junior, about 110 minutes of homework, which I typically do around that every night. I do pretty well in school too, so there has to be some correlation between them.
But with that 10 minutes per grade level mindset, wouldn't that be a problem as a junior and senior when you also have college to focus about? Like as a senior in high school in the fall, you're pretty busy with college apps, and having that extra 2 hours of homework, that could really make your life pretty stressful.
I'm not a senior, so I can't really speak to what the college essays or any of that process is like.
Okay, well, Jake and Hallie, how would you feel if you had 2 hours of homework every night while trying to make your mind up about college?
Well, I think that's like one of the most important times to learn how important like hard working ethic is, because in college you're gonna get more than 2 hours of homework some nights, and you're gonna be just piled up with work. If you come from high school where you didn't get that much work, then kids are just gonna be so overwhelmed and they're not gonna be able to keep up with all the work.
But in college, you also have longer time to complete assignments. It's not usually day-to-day basis like high school. Most high school assignments are. Would that factor in the equation at all?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I think homework also teaches you good time management, which will prepare you more for college. And I think that kids need that, and they won't learn that if the homework stays where it's at, or even reduces it.
I think like when one is a senior, I think the first priority of that person is to finish like the college application, all that. And because like some of the homework are kind of redundant, you know, because like for history, like if you
So you think your homework should be in some way beneficial to what you plan to do later in life?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Now I want to go back to Julia's point where you have no homework at all. Would that be worth it though? Because I know a lot of students would not do homework if they were given the choice. So test grades would drop even more than they are in the U.S. And I don't think I think the government would actually try and formally regulate homework if test grades drop that much that they look, the U.S. is a lot worse nation internationally. So would the trade-off between irresponsibility and no homework be worth it for no stress?
Well, we have no proof that kids would be completely irresponsible if they didn't have homework. And in addition to that, I think a lot of parents would regulate the students. A lot of parents already do check students' grades and make sure that the students are staying on top of their grades. So even if they didn't have homework, I feel like it's the parents' responsibility and definitely the students to make sure that their grades stay up.
And finally, well, I'm still going to talk about why teachers. It has been shown that teachers in their first few years of teaching, they will assign more homework than later on in life. I think teachers under 5 years of teaching would, on average, assign 20 minutes more homework than teachers that have been teaching for 20 years or more. So, why do you think that is? And do you think that's a sign of the teacher becoming lazy, or a teacher of acknowledging that their students are stressed and trying to alleviate some of that pressure? Anyone have any thoughts on that?
I think like as the time goes on and when the teacher gets older, I think like he or she will know how to control like the materials he or she can teach in class, and most of the teacher with experience, they will pretty much give all the knowledge in the class, not outside the class. Because like if you are a new teacher, like you want to finish this whole process like within this semester or trimester, but if you can finish all those in one class, I think the only way he can do is like hand out all those like stressful homework to the student. So I don't think I don't think teacher is being lazy as the now. It's just like the teacher is getting more experience of teaching.
Any thoughts?
I think it could be explained by new teachers who might want to just put their foot down and not have the reputation of being a pushover. I think teachers might be intimidated by students thinking they can just go into their class and being walked all over, and they just get more comfortable as time goes on, as they build a reputation that they are a teacher who like expects success and hard work out of their class.
Makes sense. And what do you think about homework being taken as completion grade versus accuracy? Like in math, would you rather show the teacher your homework, get 100 on it because it's done, or would you rather take it, grade it, show you what you did wrong, and get a 70 on it? Would the impact of a lower grade be worth it if you get a higher score on the test?
In my opinion, yes, it would. Because if you do homework for completion, not everyone would actually put their full effort into it, and they probably wouldn't try all that hard. Now, if it was being graded, students would have much more incentive to try it. And if they get a bad grade, well, at least they'll know where they screwed up along the line. They'll know where they messed up, and they can fix it for the test. And so they'll probably do better on the test.
I agree. I think making homework a completion grade is kind of making homework useless, I want to say, because students, so many textbooks just have the answers in the back of the books, and when students are rushed, they usually just go and they copy down the answers from the back of the books, or they make things up because they're trying to study for another test. And I do believe that the studying is more important than the completion grade of the homework. But if homework was rated instead of a completion grade, students would actually put effort and time into the homework, and it would also act as a tool to help them study for the test somewhat, so it would actually be useful to them.
Yeah, I agree. I think if homework is graded for accuracy, I think it gives the student incentive to try to understand it instead of just doing it to get the 10 out of 10 and writing random answers.
But Julia, you say there should be no homework, correct?
Yeah, because I don't think that homework is effective in necessarily to help every kid study for every single test. People learn in different ways. Usually, for example, vocab, filling in sentences with vocab words doesn't really help me. I prefer to write the words on like a board in my wall and just look at them, and I'm good. So oftentimes homework is actually a waste of my time.
So do you believe that homework should be supplementary instead of, like if a teacher were to give you problems that could help you, would you be in favor of that? And like you could show them if you wanted to?
I would prefer that, because then you could pick and choose what you think will help you study, and you can do the ones that will help you study, and the ones that don't, you can come up with something else yourself.
But if it were supplementary, how many students would you think would actually do it, and would the teacher just be wasting their time and effort trying to make assignments for kids that won't do it?
I don't think it's a waste of time and effort. You can easily find lots of assignments in textbooks. They have plenty of problems and online. I don't know how many kids would do it. It's actually an interesting question. Again, it's kind of up to the students, what value they put on academics, and I think that would determine whether or not they would do it.
Any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I think a little bit of homework is really necessary, because think about that, like 100% is like our grades, the total score is 100%, right? Like hence is kind of 40 or 30, like
A good percentage.
yeah, around that percentage. I think homework should have a little bit percentage instead of 0, because I don't want to see my friend like just bomb the test and then he cried a whole semester. I think homework can help the student to balance their whole grades, and then and of course it can give him a confident boost of like seeing the grades and not getting like this types of it.
Sort of like you have homework to fall back on that shows you're trying,
Yes.
even if you're not performing well on tests.
Yeah.
Jake, do you have thoughts?
I still think that more homework needs to be implemented in schools across America, just because I don't have as much faith kids will take the initiative to work hard. I think hard work ethic needs to be forced upon kids to really carry it out the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that work ethic should be promoted by the school, not the
Yeah.
parents. Ryan?
I think the homework should be kept the way it is, around 2 hours for high school students. And it should be kept the same because homework is beneficial, as it would help kids develop good study habits that they may not necessarily have if they don't have homework that's mandatory.
I still believe that homework should not be forced upon students because it creates unnecessary levels of stress, and students should be able to A, put their own value on academics, and B, decide what helps them learn best and do that.
Okay. Thank you for watching this week's Sunday Smackdown.
This has been the Sunny Hills Smackdown.